Well, yeah, you kind of had to deliver mail or hand it out to people.
Yeah, I had to take care
That's part
of
of
mail
his job.
when we got it. We got, when we were down in England, we're down in France, southern France, before we went to the Pacific. We went to, they call it the Arles staging area, E-R-L-E-S-Y, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We first got our Christmas mail, and that was in,
6 months later.
yeah.
Wow.
Christmas cookies never all broke up.
Yeah, I was taking care of the Italian's mail, and Colonel Stout, he called me and called me in and he told me you're to get about 3 6x6s and drivers and go down to Liverpool and get the Christmas mail. Went down and got it, and oh hell, it was all in bags, you know, mail bags with the rope zippers on top. I don't know, there must have been about 300 bags. And they started opening it up and shit. Candy rolled out here and popcorn rolled out there. The bag boxes was all broke open, you know. But what we did, Captain Hart says, dump them all out all along like a windrow of hay and let them pick out what they want. Some of
his mail was
a box of the candy was chocolates, they were all loose, you know, and you know how they
Sure.
rolled up and the
And they
painted
were,
shells with them.
and they were old. They
Yeah.
were really old. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
It was Christmas stuff
Sure,
And
sure.
Christmas in what month?
in July.
July. That
Oh,
was a song,
that's
remember?
crazy.
Christmas in July.
I forgot
years ago.
about that, yeah.
Mm, mm.
And it was quite a song.
Wow, wow. Tell us how during the Battle of the Bulge you slept out in barns, right? You weren't inside for months, were you? You were sleeping outside?
Yeah, we slept outside all the time. That was when we went through the head of a canal and we got off at Albrook Field. And that was the first time we got white-collared beds to sleep in that night. And said 8 months.
Where was that at?
It was in
In the Panama Canal?
Panama Canal at Albrook Field. It was an airfield that was there.
Oh, they let you get off the ship and you
Yeah,
could go
it
and
was-
actually sleep in
There
it?
was 4,000 troops on that ship and 100 nurses, and they all marched off, and we got marched right in through a mess hall, and they fed us, you know, a regular meal, you know, a regular cooked meal, and hell, our stomachs was shrunk up, we couldn't eat half of it.
Well, this was when you got to
See, we-
Japan, you say?
Huh?
Or
No,
was that
Panama.
already?
Yeah, when we went through the Panama Canal.
Oh, through
Yeah.
Panama.
And what ship was Francis supposed to be on? And you saw that ship?
It was
Oh,
New
really?
Jersey, it was. Battleship New Jersey.
And you called over?
I seen that when we got down in Manila, in the Pacific. It was there, and I told Captain Hart that my brother was supposed to be on that, you know. And
He was in the Navy.
yeah,
So you were in Manila already when you
Yeah.
saw that ship?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it was in Manila. Parked right beside of where we went in on our boat, you know.
Isn't that a coincidence?
And
though?
I told him that he said, well, he says, I'll tell you what, I'll call over there and see. He's on there, but let you go. And he told me that he was left off the ship in Madison, Washington. He had diphtheria.
In Washington State?
He got a medical discharge, you know, he was only in about 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you never knew if he was dead or alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
He got diphtheria.
He had gotten as far as Washington State and then was off the ship again.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was assigned to the ship and he was only on it a few days, I guess,
Yeah,
a
he was
week.
pretty sick. He was not good for, after we got married yet. They came to eat one Sunday.
He got a bad heart condition on it.
Oh,
They gave him medical discharge.
wow.
That might be what
Wow.
shortened his life too, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Shots of penicillin in his butt while he was in it.
73?
Penicillin was the main medicine at that
That
time,
was
you know.
pretty new about
Just
that
new.
time, I think, wasn't it?
Wow, wow.
And it saved his life, probably.
Yeah.
Diphtheria was a
Wow,
bad
wow.
sickness.
Tell us how, during the Battle of the Bulge, you slept out in barns, right? You weren't inside for months, were you? You were sleeping outside?
Yeah, we slept outside all the time.
And then you had to go through a delousing tank?
And yeah, I remember that now. And 3 different times they hauled us down to Yellowgrown River, and it was about 24 of us in the 6x6. They hauled us down, and they had was by a creek about the size of Derry Glen Creek. And they had they're pumping water out of there through some heaters, fuel oil heaters, and then they had big 12-man tents that we went in the first one, and you had to take all your clothes off and throw them on a pile, and all except your boots, you know, you carry your boots with you, your combat boots, and any watches or anything that you had, personal. And then you went in the next tent, and they had barrels of water, 50-gallon barrels, 3 of them in a row. They had a delousing agent in there, and there was a sergeant standing by each one, and you had to take a deep breath and then jump in, and he pushed your head right down under and says, count to 1, 2, 3, you know, and then until you get back out. And you went into another one that was the same way, you know, the cleaner, and the water was just lukewarm. And then they went into another one that they had showers where they had hot shower, you know. Talk about in Europe. I spent 8 months in Europe and 6 months in the Pacific, and we left France, I guess it was, in 1945, I think it was. We got on the USS Monterey. That was 4,000 troops and 100 nurses on A deck, and there was, I guess there was about 3 battalions of Negro colored guys that were on the transportation, Army Transportation Corps, and some of them, they didn't want to go overseas. Anyway, when we kept going about, we left Europe, and we went about 14 days on the ship, and we decided we planned on going home, you know, getting discharged. Instead, we went through the Panama Canal to go to the Pacific. In a way, we were on the boat, and we got to the Panama Canal, and some of them guys, they didn't want to go any further. They didn't want to go in the Pacific, the Negro guys, so they were attempted to commit suicide, jump over the boat, you know. And the military police that were on the boat, they had a heck of a time holding them back. Anyway, they got the situation calmed down, and well, it took 3 days to go through the Panama Canal. Yeah, 29 feet higher in one ocean than in the other, and required to go into a big box, and you get your water from Yatoon Lake that's up in the mountains, and you go into a lock, and they fill it up with water, and that raises the ship up to 9 feet, and that takes a whole day process.
Wow.
And
That's
then they have on the side of the canal, they have great big donkey engines. They're like railroad locomotives. And they tie that onto the ship with cables, and when you open up the lock to go to for the water to carry the ship into the next lock, they got great big engines on each side like locomotives that got railroad tracks that got gears on them, and they rise up like about 10-12 feet on a gradual slope, and the ship is tied onto them, and when it goes into the next lock, they drive over and over the top of that and let the ship go in real slow into the next lock, you know.
so those things hold it back.
Yeah, the engine on each side keeps the ship from going in too fast into the lock. So otherwise it'd go right
That was one
through
thing I
the
was.
gate, you know. And anyway, each one of them locks, it takes 1 day. It's a 1-day process, and there's 3 locks.
My
So
God, I never
it takes-
realized that.
it takes 3
Yeah.
days to go through.
And
that.
then what was your first stop in the Pacific after, you didn't know you were going, right? You said that.
We didn't know where we were
You
going. No.
said your colonel had put you in for it, and you all didn't know it?
Yeah, the colonel
They kept it
volunteered
secret.
for Pacific duty, you know, and we didn't know it until afterward, after we got out there.
So the guys were pretty
Yeah,
upset.
Yeah, they were upset because we had enough points to come back home and get discharged
They
to
were
the
all
States.
just
you know.
dying to get home, and then
Yeah, we had 100
suddenly
points.
realized they weren't going home.
We were supposed to go home, you know, but,
So you all woke up,
so we were all misled, and it was kind of bitter about it too.
so when you got to Panama Canal, you knew where you were going.
Yeah,
And where did you go then first in the Pacific?
Yeah, where did you land first?
well, let's see, we landed in
Philippines?
Manila. We landed right beside of the sunken big battleship of Oklahoma. Yeah,
Wow. Did you
Yeah.
come into battles there?
huh?
Was the battle already over
The battle
there?
was all over, yeah, the war was over with already. Yeah,
In Europe, but
Yeah.
not in Asia.
well, it ended too, they surrendered, you know,
Okay.
yeah, you know. Heck was it? I think May 3rd, 1945.
It was May in Europe and August after the bombs in Hiroshima
Yeah.
and Nagasaki, right?
Yeah,
So what happened to you in the Philippines? You got sick?
Philippines. Well,
Didn't you tell me you got real sick there?
we didn't have it, the war was over with then when we got there,
Uh-huh.
in the Philippines.
I thought you told me you got very sick once and your rest of your group went on to Japan and you had to stay behind.
Yeah, that was, I think it was malaria that we got. And in the last 22 days I was in the hospital. And,
That's when they used to keep them in the hospital.
yeah,
Nowadays they don't.
anyway, I forgot a lot of it already now.
Yeah.
And we was 22 days behind. And we got to,
You told me
anyway,
that.
my unit went on to Japan. And I was transferred, I went on a ship. I forget what the name of the ship was. Anyway, we got in the South China Sea, and they had what they call one of them big 3-day whirlwinds, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
What they call it?
A
Typhoon?
hurricane?
Typhoon,
or
yeah.
Yeah.
we were on that small ship, and we bounced around like a doggone top on the top of high water, you know, up and down and up and down.
Wow.
Everybody got seasick, and the water came in the vents on top faster than they could pump it out. The water went, I bet there was 12 feet of water went over the top of the ship, and they were pumping it out, and the thing got to be like knee deep in the water in the whole boat, and it was tipping this way and tipping that way, and the ship got up out of the waves. They call them swells. The ship went over the top, and the prop came out of the water, and it would spin to beat hell. You could hear it. They had 3 props on there, one big one in the center and one on each side, and you could hear them, you know. When they got down in the water, the whole ship rumbled like it was going to break up. You know, when the prop got back in the water, and it was really,
That's some
you really
feeling.
thought that was the end of your life, you know.